What's up, guys? Welcome to this other edition of the Deep Learning Talk by NeuralLearn.ai. In this edition, we're going to talk about getting started with deep learning in 2021. This field has evolved so much such that you don't necessarily need a degree, talk less of a PhD, to get started in deep learning. Also, no need to own very expensive hardware to get started with deep learning. You also don't need to come from a math or software background to start implementing deep learning algorithms. What you'll need the most to move to that next level in your career as a deep learning practitioner is determination. For sure, you'll eventually need knowledge in math, but you don't need it to get started. You could start with a code-first approach and then later on move to understanding the math behind all these deep learning algorithms. It's important to note that you wouldn't need to master all the topics in math, and so even when you want to get started with understanding the math behind these algorithms, there are some specific math topics you would have to look at in order to get a complete understanding of how these algorithms work. And even if you didn't love doing math back in college, which is most probably because you weren't driven to study it since you didn't see the use of certain math concepts, now after implementing these deep learning algorithms, you would be motivated to go back and understand these concepts now, since you now have a reason to understand them. You shall also be using software development concepts and algorithms when implementing these deep learning algorithms. And if there is one thing we advise you to master before getting started, is the Python programming language. And so you're strongly advised to take this free essential Python programming course by NeuralLearn.ai, where we treat topics like variables, conditional statements, loops, functions, objects, classes, decorators, generators, and special Python packages like NumPy and Matplotlib. These will go a long way to get you the Python knowledge you'll need to get started with deep learning. And now you could get started without any fear. Today, libraries like PyTorch, TensorFlow, and Hugging Face have been made available for free and have been built with one aim, and which is that of making your work easy. If you already know Python, using these libraries wouldn't be any difficult. In the description, you could check out a link where we clearly show you how to install TensorFlow in both a CPU and a GPU. Talking about GPUs, that's graphical processing units, they are used to train deep learning algorithms even faster than the CPU counterparts, and hence they are greatly used in deep learning. Don't worry in case you don't have a GPU available. Google Colab comes to solve this problem with zero configuration required, free access to GPUs, and easy sharing. You now have no reason not to get started. At this point, you're wondering, what do I start learning? And the answer is simple. Start looking at data preparation for very simple data sets, then move to solve simple problems with popular machine learning algorithms like linear and logistic regression. Understand and use the machine learning development life cycle in solving problems. Get started with neural networks. Master more sophisticated neural networks like CNNs, RNNs, transformers, YOLO, and UNet. And then deploy a model and monitor it. And while going through even the simplest of machine learning algorithms, you would come across the gradient descent algorithm, which is a great application of our knowledge on calculus. In case you have no previous knowledge on calculus, no need to bother. as the machine learning libraries got you covered, and you don't necessarily need to understand calculus to make use of this algorithm. And after getting past the stage where you could now get a simple machine learning problem, prepare the data, define a model, evaluate that model, and then deploy it, you would want to solve even more complex problems. And sometimes when solving them, it's important for you to understand exactly what's going on behind the hoods. You could also check out an article by Andrzej Karpathy where he explains why it's important to understand the working of the backpropagation algorithm. Nonetheless, it's important to keep in mind that once you've applied those algorithms, now getting back to understand exactly how and why they work will be easier since you now have a drive. And that's the whole purpose of NeuralLearn.ai. We take you from the basics to expert level while maintaining a correct balance of math requirements and hands-on practice. Apart from the core deep learning courses, we have courses like complete linear algebra, applied linear algebra, probability, applied probability, calculus, statistics, relational databases, and essential Python programming, so you get the best of both worlds. All courses have been discounted to make it easy for anybody in the world to purchase them. In case you can't purchase at this discounted prices, you could simply apply for a scholarship. We can now come to a conclusion that all you need to start is a personal computer. Congratulations, you are now ready to get started.